everybody, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing my December TBR, and so like last month I'm going to be doing it randomly, generating these books that I wrapped up in craft paper and kind of written only a very vague description of, so I don't really know what I'm getting into before I open up the package. And so I have 46 books wrapped up here, and I think I'm going to do 5. I'm going to unwrap 5 of them today, but I will randomly generate them. So I have a random number generator on my iPad right here, and I've set in 1 through 46 as the numbers here. And so I'm just going to hit random once. So 13. I should write those down. The next one. Oops. 9, roll number 3, 20, number 4, number 3, and the last roll we will do is number 43. So I'm gonna grab those books and I'll show you them all and all of the descriptors I've left my present self from my past self, and I'll be right back. So I got all my books, they're all right here, and I guess in reverse order than what I drew them as. I will start from there. And so we have a 19th century classic, a 20th century play, a folklore retelling, a 20th century Irish classic, and historical fiction, and then it says Irish and Canadian. And so I guess I'll open this one up first, see what it is. So the first book we have here is Away by Jane Urquhart. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And I do not really know much about this. From what the tag says, it's historical fiction having to do with the Irish and Canadian. And so I'll look in the front flap here. So it says, Esther O'Malley Robertson gazes out at Lake Ontario from her home for perhaps the last time. This house, highly charged with memories and history, is a part of a landscape that is now being swallowed by industry. The story of her family's past has its beginning in the 1840s off the northern coast of Ireland, where a young woman embraced a semi-conscious sailor who had washed in with the tide, and later, with her husband and young son, fled the famine for Canada, eventually settling in Ontario. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So it looks like it's kind of like a historical fiction about Irish settlers in Canada, which is kind of interesting. The back says it's really beautifully written and compares it to Emily Bronte and Thomas Hardy, which will be interesting. I haven't read anything from those two authors, but I have read Charlotte Bronte, and it was amazing. I don't ever shut up about Jane Eyre, but so yeah, I'm excited about this one. It has some nice fancy decal edges. I'm not gonna lie, I bought it at a thrift store because of the cover. And the spine, I thought the spine was really beautiful. But that's the first one. So the next one is a 20th century Irish classic. So we have a little bit of an Irish theme this month. And we have The Dublin Ears by James Joyce. I had a feeling it might have been this because I don't have very many literature from Irish authors. So, and I know I had picked this up at a thrift store a while ago and I didn't know where it went. So it went in here apparently. So I don't really know anything about this, but it says Joyce's first major work, written when he was only 25, brought his city to the world for the first time. His stories are rooted in the rich detail of Dublin life, portraying ordinary, often defeated lives with unflinching realism. He writes of social decline, sexual desire, and exploitation, corruption, and personal failure, yet creates a brilliantly compelling, unique vision of the world and of the human experience. So that's interesting. I'm guessing it's set in the late 1800s, early 1900s, because this was published in 1914. So yeah, I'm excited. I've heard that James Joyce is really amazing author, and I have my eyes on some of his other, excuse the noises, that's my dog walking around. Sorry. I'm really excited to pick this one up. I heard really great things about him. So then we have, a folklore retelling. I'm not too sure what this is, actually. All right, so this one is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. So I remember picking this one up. This is kind of a folklore retelling. It's Ava Reid's debut, inspired by Hungarian history and Jewish mythology, following a young pagan woman with hidden powers and a one-eyed captain of the Woodsman as they form an unlikely alliance to thwart a tyrant. That's an interesting verb. But yeah, I remember picking this up because it was like criminally cheap, and I believe it's actually a pretty newer release. Yes, it came out in 2021. I think this will be the first book I read this year published in 2021, which is kind of sad. But I'm really excited for this one. I'm having issues with my library card, but I know that this has an audiobook also available at my library, but I'm gonna have to go into the library, and it's like an hour drive because it's available in my hometown library, which I have a library card too still, but not like my local library because I live not in my hometown anymore, but I still have a hometown library card. So I'm gonna have to get that fixed because I think I want to pick up the audiobook as well. But I'm excited to pick this one up. So next we have a 20th century play, and I have an idea what this might be. My dog has gotten her toy, but it looks like the wrong shape. This is my dog, Bella. Her dog last name is Swan, because I couldn't name her. We didn't name her, and I didn't like the name Bella because it's like really basic. So I gave her the dog last name Swan because Twilight is my favorite. Yeah, this is Bella Swan. I just thought she would make a booktube appearance. She's really cute. Okay, I'm gonna put you down now, okay? I'm not really sure what this one is. I have quite a bit of 20th century plays that I've purchased, so. Oh, Bernard Shaw, Heartbreak House. I have no clue what this is about, but I have picked up a few Bernard Shaw, his works, at thrift stores, weirdly enough. I don't know if he's maybe a Canadian author and like university students have to study him. No, he's born in Dublin, which is weird enough. So this says, when Ellie Dunn joins a house party at the home of an eccentric Captain Shotover, she causes a stir with her decision to marry for money rather than love, and the captain's forthright daughter, Hezine, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, protects vigorously against the pragmatic young woman's choice. Written between 1916 and 1917, Heartbreak House is a telling incident of the generation responsible for the First World War. With its bold combination of high farce and bitter tragedy, Shaw's play remains an uncannily prophetic depiction of a society on the threshold of an abrupt awakening. So that's going to be interesting. So it was published, I guess, in 1919, or first done as a play in 1919. So that's right after the First World War. So this is written kind of in reflection of the First World War, which is really interesting. Or actually written during the First World War, so reflecting while it's happening. But that's that. I can't believe I got this thrifted. It's like, I don't think it's been read. Amazing. And so we have one more left, and it's our 19th century classic. I hope I wrote that right. So it is Castle Rackrent by Maria Edgeworth. I actually don't know anything about this. I bought it at a thrift store and it like doesn't look like it's even been used at all. I don't even know why someone would have bought this unless it was for school, but I've never heard of this before, so that's interesting. So it's blurb by W.B. Yeats, which is interesting. So this is another Irish set. I have 4 out of the 5 books I picked all have Irish influences. That's crazy because Bernard Shaw is Irish, James Joyce is Irish, and Away by Jane Urquhart is Irish immigrant historical fiction. Interesting. Okay, so this says during the 1790s, not the 1970s. During the 1790s, with Ireland in a political crisis, Maria Edgeworth made a surprisingly rebellious choice. In Castle Rackrent, her first novel, she adopted an Irish Catholic voice to narrate the decline of a family from her own Anglo-Irish class. Castle Rackrent's narrator, Thady Quirke, gives us 4 generations of Rackrent heirs. Sir Patrick, the dissipated spendthrift, Sir Murtagh, the litigating friend, Sir Kit, the brutal husband and gambling absentee, and Sir Condy, lovable and improvident dupe of Thady's own son, Jason. With this satire on Anglo-Irish landlords, Edgeworth pioneered the regional novel and inspired Sir Walter Scott's Waverley. She also changed the focus of conflict in Ireland from religion to class and boldly predicted the rise of the Irish Catholic bourgeoisie. That's really interesting. Okay, so it's a novel. It's quite short. But it's interesting. It's by a female author, and it was published in 1800, so it's quite an older novel. So this is like even before Jane Austen was published. So that's awesome. So this is what the random number generator picked for me. So we have Away by Jane Urquhart, The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid, Dubliners by James Joyce, Heartbreak House by Bernard Shaw, and Castle Rackrent by Maria Edgeworth. And so these aren't the only books that I plan on reading this month. I do have quite a few holds available at my library that are going to be coming in and that are already available, but I'm not quite ready to read them right yet. So I will definitely be reading a lot more contemporary novels, more on the lines of like Ava Reid type of young adult and fantasy and stuff. So I don't really have most of them in hard copies to show you, but I definitely am gonna read, hopefully, the second installment in the Camelot Rising trilogy by Kiersten White, and I cannot remember what that's called, but maybe I'll put a picture here. And I think I have a V.E. Schwab book available in my library. I'll put a picture here. I have the second book in the Cassandra Clare universe available. I think City of Glass. I could be totally wrong, but I'll put the picture here. I'm going to read it based in Cassandra Clare's reading order that she recommends. Spoiler for my wrap up, I read City of Bones, and then I also have the entire I forget what the trilogy is called, Darken, I think, by Kiersten White. I have all 3 available at the library via audiobook, so I'm gonna hopefully read those too. It's gonna be a packed reading month this month. November was as well, which is kind of scary. I went from being in like a slump for half of October to like reading tons of book in November, but hopefully I can get through all of this, all these books. I will prioritize these. These 3 should be no problems, because especially these 2 are really, really short. One's a play, and then I'm sure I can find a audiobook for Dublin Ears as if I, am struggling, because I think he writes pretty like densely, but also like poetically, from what I've heard. And then I might be able to get an audiobook for this one. And then this one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually like not too excited about this one. When I picked it up, I didn't realize that it was about an Irish immigrant like settling in Canada. That's not really a historical fiction that I would have picked up if I had actually read it. So moral of this lesson is, when you're thrifting books, don't just pick them up based on how they look like. At least read the blurb and figure out if it's something that you would actually ever pick up on your own. But who knows? She's compared to Emily Bronte and Thomas Hardy. So anyway, that's what I have planned for this month. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you've read any of these novels, definitely let me know, or the one play that I showed. If you have any suggestions for what I should read based off of these books, definitely let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.